Before I go to Div, some students asked me to include the Ethiopian map and then also the map of Kenya. Let me show you how you can do, and then that will be clear, and then when I explain to you about Div, it will be clear as well. Now, the next step, what you should do is, you can come here, image, source, and then you can say image, and then Ethiopia, as simple as that. And then if you wanted to make the width and the height a little bit smaller, what you should do is you can say width, let me make it 100 pixel by, and then the height can be 100 pixel. And then the title can be map of Ethiopia. Here you go. And then close the element right there. Now you can copy this, and then you can change by Kenya. Here you go. And then you can make it map of Kenya. Ethiopia should be correct. The spelling should be correct like that. And then let me save. And then when I come to my website, you see this is Kenya, this is Ethiopia, and then this is Africa. Of course, this is not proportional. You have to make sure that it should be proportional. For example, as you can see in map of Ethiopia, it's a little bit unproportional. That means the width should be wider, and then the height should be can stay there. So what you can do is you can come here and then change to 150 pixel. Where is that the width? If you increase the width a little bit, then it will be the visualization will be more clear. You see, and then you can make a little bit of the height, and then that will be perfect. Now, this is how you can display multiple images side by side, or you can make a new line. For example, you wanted to just separate. You wanted to make this one in the first place, and then this one in the second line, and then this one in the third line. That means instead of horizontal, if you wanted to make it vertical, what you should do is you have to put a breakpoint. You remember the breakpoints that I told you? BR can be used right there. You see, I can do that. Oh, sorry. Let me just do this. Okay, BR, and then when I refresh this, you see, it is coming in from top to bottom instead of side by side. This is how you can do, this is how you can work with the HTML and then also with the image. Now, having this said this much about the image, today I will explain to you about the div. What does it mean by div? Div is nothing but is a container. For example, this is really very simple. Now let me bring you guys to Microsoft Word, and then let me delete this guy, and let me delete this guy. Okay, look, for example, I wanted to make this in a box. Okay, what you should do is in Microsoft Word, you can come here and then you can put a box right there. See, you can put a box right there, and then you can minimize this box. Whenever you minimize this box, it will automatically shrink for you guys. Okay, look at here, it will be like that, and then this is the first box. And then if I wanted to make this one another box, and then I can put in another container. See, and then this one is in another container. I can put in another container. These are different containers. These in HTML are called boxes. Okay. Not only this. Let me just come back to Microsoft Word, and then let me just show you. For example, let me close this one. Let me delete this one. For example, if you wanted to make like this, let me show you here. There you go. Now, if you have the box right like this, and then another box like this, and then another box like this. In HTML, you can use a div, but in Microsoft Word, you can use a box. So you can do like this in Microsoft Word, and then bring this text, and then right click, and then add text, and then you can paste it there. See, you can add text again, you can paste it there. So that means these three boxes can have its own boundary. That boundary is called div. How can we do that? I will show you in the next recording, in this recording. Now, let me just go to the Visual Studio Code Editor. Right before Africa, let me add a paragraph. Okay, this paragraph, let me just paste this on. As you can see here, let me just come here, and then when I refresh this guy, okay, there is actually the this paragraph. Now the question is, okay, you know what, I wanted to make this in a box, and then that box should have a border, and then that box should have the background color. How can I do that? I can use div instead of paragraph. Now what I will do is I will come here. Okay, div is nothing but is a container, as I mentioned to you. Okay, let me just come here, and then this entire paragraph, what I can do is I can use div. Okay, under this div, within this div, I can just put this text. At this point, there is no, oh sorry, let me just come here. At this point, when I save it, there is no any difference between the first one and this one. You see, there is nothing. Because I didn't specify the border, I didn't specify the background color. Now let me specify the background color and border. To what? To the div. Now I can come here and I can specify style. Style is an attribute, and then later on when I explain to you about attributes, I will explain to you about style. But for now, just think that style is nothing but it is an attribute. Okay. Now I can say border width. The width of the border is 1 pixel. That means the width of the bordering line. And then there are different border styles. Okay. I can come here and then I can say border style. The border style can be dash, dot, double line, or groove, whichever you want. But I like solid line. Now let me save this. At this time, this entire paragraph will have a border, as we had a border in Microsoft Word. Now look at this. Look at this div. Now, if I wanted to make this div the width a little bit smaller, width can make it, and then I can make it, for example, 300 pixels. Look now. When I come here and then refresh this, sorry, should be, let me just come here, let me close this one, and then here, right there, width, because it should be within the style. Now 300 pixel, as simple as that, and then let me go back, and then you'll see how small it is. You see, this is a box. Now I make this in a box. How I did this? Simply, what I did is, let me just come here. Okay, I have a div. Then there is a style, and then this is the text. So I put this div, the border style, and then that's it. Now if I wanted to add a background color, I can add a background color. And then I can use this light yellow color. Now when I do this, beautiful. You see, you can use div. But when we use Bootstrap later on, when we learn about CSS, I will show you more about how can we make this div like this one. For example, what if I wanted to make side by side? And I will show you that one in depth, okay? The div, you can specify the floating. For example, you see, at this point, look, this div is floated to the left. But what if I wanted to make, for example, I wanted to make this div to be placed in the right side, not in the left side. So what you should do is, you can specify the floating position for that div. Now let me come here, okay, over here, in the div section, you can come here, float, okay, I think float right. I'm not sure, but we will check. I think it should be working like that. Otherwise, we'll check. Okay, and just do this. Float div to the right. Okay, here you go. Okay, there is a float. Okay, under style. Okay, I forgot. It should be under style. Now let me come here. Let me come. Where is that? And here. That's my problem. Okay, it should be within the style. Okay, right there. Let me just do this. Float right. Here you go. Now this div will be float to the right. Okay, what I did is I put under this style. You see, let me make it in a separate line. As you can see, from here to here, it is a style. And then what I did is I specified the border width, I specified the border style, and I specified the background color, and then I specified the floating position. So now when I save this and then go back to my website, and then this one will float to the right. You see, the div is floating to the right. Now it is just parallel to the image. This is how you can do, but you don't need to do like this because there are third-party tool like Bootstrap, and then I will show you that one when we learn more about the Bootstrap. Now, div is nothing but is a container. Now, if you wanted to create another div, what should you do? Okay, now simply you can just copy this, and then let me bring on top. Instead of this color, let me just change this to aqua, and then let me see how it should look, how it look like. Okay, now as you can see here, perfect. They are side by side. You see, this one is the right, and this one is further right. So you can do like that, and then they are side by side. For example, if you wanted to make a space in between, what you should do is you can specify the margin, and then you can say 10 pixels. Then there will be a margin, and then padding. You can specify padding as well, and then you see there is a space in between. So you can play with this, and then I will explain to you about that later on. But this is div. Div is nothing but is a container. So if you wanted to use a div, you can use. If you wanted to have a box like this, you can use a div, and then that's how you, very simple to use a div. In the next recording, I will explain to you about dictionary, and then I will explain to you what does it mean by dictionary, and then we'll see about span, links, tables, frames, and then we'll continue from there.